Hi, my name is Mr. Neef, and this is my OpenSpace3d tutorial. I'm a school teacher, and my students are going to be working on the Cambridge Nationals IT and are going to be working on the AR unit. So this video is here to give them an idea of how OpenSpace3d works. So with the mouse, you can move the camera around pretty easily. You can tilt it, turn it, all sorts. For this tutorial, you're going to need some assets. You can make them yourself, and then you need to copy them into the OpenSpace3d folder, which is located in your Documents folder. And then you can see I've got my folder, School Scenario, and inside School Scenario, I've got some folders. First folder is just basically just some PNG images and some buttons. Second folder is Material, which is empty. My third folder, which is my screens that are going to show up. And my fourth folder, which is my sound files. And then finally, I've got a marker image, which I've just used as the school logo. Right, so first step, we're going to put a mesh on the screen, which is going to represent our screen. So right click on scene, and then we look for add mesh. OpenSpace has its own meshes, so you don't have to worry about making them. You can find them in examples, and then look for media, and then look for the mesh folder. There's quite a lot out there, so feel free to play, but for this tutorial I'm going to be playing around with plain 01 mesh. Now when you load it, it covers the entire screen, so we're going to need to adjust its size, adjust its position, and adjust its orientation. You can right click it and go to set scale to adjust its size. So 0.025 seems to be working quite well for me at the moment. There you go, now it looks a little bit smaller. So if you right click, we're also going to change its name. So right click, set alias, and then we're going to call it home screen because we're going to have a few meshes out there and we don't want to get them confused. So right click, set alias. Now, if you don't like its position, you can right click and you can set position right there, and you can play around with the numbers if you want, and it will show you on the screen exactly as you do it. I recommend for the moment keeping it to 0, so it's at the center of the screen when your AR app starts. But I am going to right click and set orientation because I want it to be a bit more 3D than just flat on the screen. So set it to 75, and you notice now that instead of it being flat, it's now at an angle. Now, currently our mesh doesn't really have a texture, so clicking on Group Materials, we're going to add a new material now. So click on the button, and then we're going to call this Home Screen. Next up, we're going to go into examples, and then we're going to go into my folder called Material, and I'm going to save it there. Any folder that you think is useful will be fine. Next up, we're going to double click on Home Screen, and now we're going to apply the texture. So you want to look for Diffuse, and then look for the 3 dots, and then look for whatever your image is that will represent home screen. So there's mine. And pretty much that's all you need. So we're going to go back to the scene tree in a second. And then what we're going to do is with that mesh, we're going to right click it, and then we're going to edit materials. And then this allows us to apply the texture to it. So there we go. We now have a nice mesh with a screen. So the idea being when we scan a marker, this is going to pop up. So next up, we're gonna, if you click on the play button, you can see what it looks like at the stage. So there you go, play button, and you can turn it around. Doesn't really do much, but if you do it without the marker, it will move it. So you'll need to play around with the position. So right click, set position, and then just set it back to 0. So you can skip that bit. Right, what we're going to do next is we're going to enable the camera. So at the bottom where it says groups, what we're going to do is we're going to double click on scene, and we're going to right click, and then we're going to go to inputs, and we want the AR capture. This basically enables your webcam, so we can turn this into an AR thing. All of the settings there are pretty much fine, but I'm going to call it, I'm going to change the name to enable camera so I know what it is, and I'm going to make it red so I know not to touch it, because to be honest, we won't be doing anything else with it at this stage. You can click on the play button now and see what your camera looks like. So you can see I've got my camera pointed at my screen, so you can see it behind it with my mesh still in the middle. So that's exactly what I would expect at this point. Okay, next up we're going to set up a marker. So we're going to right click that area again. We're going to go to Inputs and we're going to go to AR Marker. Now OpenSpace does make its own markers, which is great. However, if you're with the Cambridge Nationals, they will likely give you your own marker image anyway. So we're going to use our practice one to have a play around with. So just showing you the different types of markers you can have with OpenSpace. But to set the actual image up, we're going to go into our folders and preferably use the BMP file. And then OpenSpace will then train itself so it understands how your image works. So just let it do its thing. Okay, with that all set up, we're now going to connect it to our mesh. So we're going to connect it to our home screen and we're going to set it to local. So that means our mesh will now be attached to that marker screen. Okay, so now we're going to hide our mesh. So we're going to right click, look for objects and look for hide. This means that unless that marker image has been scanned, we don't want to see the mesh at all. So I'm going to give it a quick name, hide home. I'm going to set it to hide on start. I'm going to click on the three dots and make sure it's looking at that mesh. Right, we click apply, click OK, and then on the marker image box, we're going to right click and look for found. And then we're going to attach found to our hide home. And so if the marker image has been found, we then want to show it. So we're going to right click and then click show. Now we're going to do the same thing for marker image, but this time for lost. So when the marker image can't be found, it's then going to hide. So select hide this time. Okay, so that's the basics all set up. There's my marker image on the screen, but you can print it on paper. It should work just the same. I'm going to click on the play button to test it. And there's my camera, and I'm going to look for the screen, and then boom, there you go, the mesh is now showing up. So we've now made a very, very basic AR app. So in the next video, we're going to show you how to add buttons and have other meshes show up. But for today, that's all we're going to do. Thanks for your time, and I hope this video is helpful.